Hello y'all, and welcome to Young Folk Knits. Today I am sharing about some knitting projects, some sewing projects, and I want to talk through some decisions that need to be made. So let's get right into it. Hello y'all, and welcome to Young Folk Knits. If you're new here, my name is Casey, and on this channel I share all about my love of fiber arts. So there's lots of knitting, sewing, spinning, and who knows what all else I might be up to at the moment. I also occasionally share about life on a small farm here in Arkansas. So if any of that sounds like it might be your cup of tea, then make sure and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future video content. I have hopefully a little bit of a shorter episode today. Last week's video was exponentially longer than ones I normally record, but I had so much I wanted to share. I had gotten a little bit behind in sharing. Today, I'm hoping it's going to be a little bit more succinct, more of my normal length episodes, but there is lots of fun stuff to chat about. It's mid-October. The weather here in Arkansas is not a knitter's paradise. I'll tell you that much. So in the mornings, it's nice and cool. It's crisp. It gives you all these dreams of outfits, woolly and wonderful. And then it's like mid-July by the end of the day. So it's a little bit frustrating. Our leaves haven't turned at all. You're sweating profusely at the end of the day. So the weather's a little bit finicky right now. But there are dreams of so many fun woolly outfits, and that sparks the knitting joy for sure. It makes me jealous of all y'all knitters that live in cooler climes up north. I'm just so jealous of the weather that you must get to enjoy. Probably less humidity. I'm sure it's already nice and cool and crisp, and maybe even scarf weather. So jealous. So, yes, as you can see, I'm in a t-shirt today. I don't know if you can see it or not. Let me see. But I'm living the silly goose life over here. I have a finished object I want to show you first. And then I went a little crazy. I frogged a lot of projects. I'm trying to decide what I want to do next as far as knitting. And even frogging quite a few projects. I have a lot of whips. And I have some upcoming knits that need to be started soon because they're on a due date. So I want to talk through some of that. I also have some finished sewing I want to share, and some sewing I'm in the middle of, I'm working on, and planning some outfits that I want to wear together. But to get started, let's talk about my first finished object. Well, my only finished object today. Who am I kidding? And it is the Traveler hood. I'm going to put pictures on the screen because I ended up re-blocking this because I do that a lot. I block something, maybe I'm in a hurry and I'm not super happy with the blocking job I did, and so then I'll re-block it and it's still wet. But this is the Traveler hood, and y'all, I really, really, really like it. This was just released this week from Andrea Mowry, and it is a Dickie style hooded collar cowl type of pattern. So you may have been familiar with her series of patterns, the Traveler series. She has a hoodie, a full sweatshirt hoodie, which can also be a crew neck. She has a hat, which I have made. She has a cowl. She has a cardigan shrug, the DRK Traveler shrug, I think is what it's called, which is like a sleeveless open cardigan. And what else does she have in this pattern? I said the hat already. Anyway, here is the newest installment from that stitch pattern, and it is like a sweatshirt hoodie, but it doesn't have sleeves or the rest of the body. So it is open on the sides, and these were really popular back in like the 80s, I remember. Not that I super remember because I was born in 88, but yeah, it's a throwback, but I love it. You can wear this to get the look of a hoodie or the warmth, without the commitment of a full sweater. So I love this for layering. It is so great under a jacket or a coat, but it doesn't affect your sleeves. So maybe you want to wear a fitted long sleeve shirt, you can put a jacket on and you don't have all these extra layers of sleeves trying to make that work. I like the look of the hood, so you can pop the hood out and it looks like you're wearing, you know, that full hoodie underneath your jacket. I think this is really cute under a jean jacket, but really any coat, anything at all. It's also kind of cute by itself, I think, with just more of a closer fitting shirt, and you just pop this over the top and it's a statement and I like it. So you go about knitting this, you knit it flat, you knit the back, knit the whole thing, and then you put it on hold, so you're not picking up stitches. You actually put it completely on hold. You knit the front and you do all the short row shaping, you create the shoulders, and then you graft your stitches together and it looks really neat and clean. One thing I love is that the edges have this really clean I-cord, and you actually graft the I-cord together, so that just looks like this really clean continuous piece right here. So many thoughtful details. I like the hood a lot. I think it is well shaped. The texture of this is just created with rows of knits and then rows of purls. So it's really simple, but sometimes it's hard to keep up with. Sometimes it's hard to read this, I find, because you do a certain number of knit rows, whether you're doing it on the wrong side or right side. You know, there's a certain number of regular stockinette, and then you have a certain number of reverse stockinette to create the knit and purl. And sometimes I find it a little hard to read like how many rows of the regular stockinette I did. The reverse stockinette is super easy for me to read, but I'm like, wait a second. Is that 2 or is that 3? Kind of hard for me to see in this pattern. So I was trying really hard to keep up with that, make sure I didn't mess up. If I accidentally added an extra row, that was really easy to see that it didn't look right. So there was that. I think that the hood then has a really clean and nice casing that you do. It's basically like, you know, you just knit flat and then fold it over and sew it down or knit it down. And you do drawstrings made out of I-cord. So I did a fun little contrast I-cord that I did in some Salty Blonde Fiber DK. I actually used this yarn in one of the shawls that I knit for Andrea Mowry, and I had some left over, and I loved this yarn so much. It's a superwash merino, and I thought it matched really well. So for my main fabric, Andrea Mowry actually used Spin Cycle Metamorphic yarn, which is labeled as a DK, but it definitely knits up more like a sport weight. And so I went with the Farmer's Daughter Fibers Recollect. It's a Rambouillet, and it is one of my all-time favorite yarns to knit with. I love it so much. I cannot tell you the joy of feeling it in your fingers while you're knitting with it. It has this amazing bounce. It just feels really nice, especially if you've been knitting with plant fibers. It feels like heaven. It just brought me so much joy to knit on this sweater. My hands my hands felt great while knitting it, and it feels woolly, it feels natural, it feels like this real lovely protein fiber that you're knitting with, but it still is so incredibly soft, and I'm so happy with it. Now I feel like I'm gonna wear this a lot, so I will definitely let y'all know what kind of pilling goes on here. I have a hat that I made out of Recollect, and I haven't had a problem with it, but it's not like I wear it year round. This I feel like I'll wear a lot, and it's gonna be underneath things, like it'll be under my jacket. So there'll be lots of rubbing going on, and I will have to, I don't know, I feel like I'm gonna get a really good sense of this yarn after wearing this in this project. I have 2 sweater quantities of this. I have a sweater quantity of Recollect to make a full traveler hoodie, and I have another sweater quantity that I bought to knit the Acorn Sweater by Suri Nordland. Both of them are sweaters I really want to make, and this yarn, knitting this project with it, just really validated the fact that I'm so happy. It was an expensive purchase on both of those sweater quantities, and in fact it was so much of an investment that I'm almost scared to knit with it. I'm scared, like I feel like everything has to be perfect because it's a lot to spend, but I feel very validated from this project that I'm really glad I bought it. Also, this stitch pattern grows so much. It's almost like ribbing. It really, really opens up. So when you're knitting it, it looks really small. Once you block it, even steam blocking it, it doesn't grow that much. So it's whenever you really submerge it, soak it, it picks up all that water, it really grows. You might be making it and you're feeling like, okay, this is so small. Just wait. It's gonna definitely grow in size by quite a bit. I knit the size 3 and I'm 5'8". I have, you know, I don't know. I feel like I don't have tiny shoulders, but I don't have like football broad shoulders or anything. But I would probably suggest knitting the size 4 if you are similar in size to me. I think if you're shorter and more petite, just like more compact of a person, then the size 3 would be fine. The hood is the same size for everybody, if I read the pattern correctly. I don't think it matters what size you knit, the hood is going to be the same size. Hope I'm not lying to you, but I'm pretty sure. Okay, let's talk about some of my works in progress and some thoughts that I'm trying to think through. Okay, I had a weird week. I was a little stressed, I think, and I was having trouble mentally making good decisions. So I kind of put everything on hold, and I even with my sewing, I'll get there in a minute. It was an interesting week. So I've shown y'all this before. This is my Ingrid Slipover, which is knit in Pearl Soho hedgerow yarn. It's a worsted weight yarn, and it is a blend of wool, I believe merino and silk, and it's got some tweedy bits in it, so it's really pretty. It's got a lot of depth to it, and I like that a lot. So my friend wanted to knit one of these for Fish Girl Fall Make Along, and I was like, yes please. Jessme from Jessme B on Instagram, and she is knitting one in a really cool like pinky terracotta color almost, and this was basically the only worsted weight yarn that I had that was the right quantity, the right everything. So I ended up ripping out a project that I had, a whip. It was a different vest, and I really knew I wasn't even going to finish that vest, so it was no problem at all. I ripped that out, and I instead repurposed the yarn for this, and I think it was a much better pattern choice for this yarn. The stitch definition is absolutely beautiful. It is popping. So we've got this double moss stitch, we have these mock cables, and then big ribbing textured stitch, and that's it. So you're just going to repeat that. I have joined in the round. I've got I don't know, like 2 inches of body done. This goes really quickly though. I haven't touched this really all week, and I need to make some length decisions. So I'm making the medium on this because this is meant to be really oversized. If you look at it, even the shoulders, I guess, it's not sleeves, the shoulders fall off the side, and it's just this big oversized editorial style look, and that's not what I'm going for. I don't really want that in this particular pattern. So instead, I am making some changes. For one, I'm making the size medium, and that's still going to give me, I'm trying to remember, but I feel like this is still going to give me an inch of positive ease. I don't want this to be just so huge off my shoulders. And my shoulders are normal size shoulders. My bust circumference, there's a huge difference between this measurement right here, my upper bust, and then my full bust is just like, there's a huge difference. So that makes sizing difficult. If you want it to fit here, then you need to pick your size based off of this measurement. So I'm doing the medium, And then it's okay with me if I have negative ease at my bust. I'm not going to, but it's okay with me if I did. And then I'm planning on making this cropped. I want it to hit me at my natural waist. I want it to hit like right at the top of my pants, maybe slightly above the waistband of my pants. So that's the look that I'm going for. And I hate the collar hate's a strong word. That's not true. I don't hate it. I don't love the collar that she did in the original pattern. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to pick up and do a regular 2x2 ribbing and do a tubular bind off. No, I'm probably going to do a 1x1 and do a regular bind off and tubular bind off and call it, because I think it'll be clean and simple, and it looks kind of weird to me, the collar that she did. I'm just not cool enough for it, is basically what it boils down to. So I'm going to just do that, and I think this will be cool. So that's where I'm at. I haven't gotten much further, and I still have so much yarn left. I'm only on my second ball, and I have 4 balls of this, 4 skeins. So it's interesting. I wonder if I'm going to have some left over. I may have to make a hat with it. So next up, I really feel like I needed to stop and think a little bit about my future plans. As I told you, I went through and I've just been ripping and frogging projects because they've gotten out of hand. And I feel like if you're in the mood to cast something on and you want to cast something on even though you have no business casting it on, that's okay. You can cast it on. But what's really good is if you quarterly go through and clean your whips out. Like, okay, I cast that on because I was feeling it, but this other project, I'm not even looking at it anymore. I haven't knit on it in a year. Okay, it's probably a good idea to go ahead and frog it, so then you don't have all these whips and projects bags staring at you that you're thinking about, that you're stressing about. So I tried to do that. And I took stock of where I'm at on a few different things. What do I even want to work on? Fall is starting, so if I want to wear a sweater this year, I need to be knitting on it now. So there's a few different projects that I am looking at. One of them, I went through, and as I was going through my whips, I did find, and it was my Norma sweater. So this is a pattern from My Favorite Things Knitwear. And I love this pattern so much. It's so pretty. It's all scrunched up and probably hard to see. But it's so pretty. And I'm using some colors that I absolutely love. So this is Sonder Yarn Co. Their DK, the Sunday Morning DK. It's a BFL and Mash and Blend. And I've got this really yummy cocoa brown color. Let me see. Hot cocoa. And then I believe the bluish green is, what is that one? Personal Space. Here it is. So it's Personal Space. And then I have a grayish color, which is Offline. So I love these 3 colors together. It's a raglan style sweater. It's super easy. The color work in it is extremely easy. The only color work you're doing is 1x1 or stripes. So if you've never done color work before, this is such a great pattern to try it. You're not going to have any problems with it. It's a big oversized sweater. I love that. And I did the big tall turtleneck. I think that's so much fun. And I want this sweater. When I'm going through and ripping out projects, I was like, there is no way I'm ripping that out. I want that, and I can't believe I haven't finished it yet. I'm so close to splitting for sleeves. And this is a worsted weight gauge, but I have no trouble at all getting it with the DK from Sonder. I have 0 problems. It puffs up so beautifully with blocking. And I thought, okay, this is what I want. I absolutely want. So I'm working on that right now. I got that out, and it is so pleasant. Now, some people might find this yarn slightly rustic if you're used to working with superwash merino. This is a non-superwash worsted, nope, woolen spun yarn, and BFL and Masham does feel very woolly. I personally love it. I love it so much, but I can see how you could feel it. You might, feel the yarn. I like feeling it. It also has this really beautiful little halo to it, which I think is fun. But it puffs up so lovely with blocking. It's got a wonderful bounce. It's just such a nice yarn. And I'm still holding it in my bag from Rose in the Wren. I love my mountain bag. So I had to kind of laugh because I'm not a super huge Suri fan. I can't use mohair at all, but I feel like Suri, I love it. I mean, it's beautiful and it's so soft, but I feel like it can be really hot, and I worry a lot. Like, is the fabric going to be too hot for me to wear in Arkansas? And so I sort of went through a period where I wasn't knitting anything with it. I was just knitting straight wool. Like, if it called for a fingering and a lace weight, I would just sub a DK weight in, a single strand. And I'm looking here at 3 different projects that are Suri. So let me show those to you really quick. Now, this one I shared about before, but it is the Kelly sweater, I think is how you say it. It's a little baby sweater here I got. Now, this is a pattern by Colibri on Instagram, or Joanna Garish. And it is this absolutely beautiful plaid sweater that you knit by working in stripes, and then you go back and use a crochet hook and do some vertical grid lines. And I think that's really fun. I enjoy doing it. The Lamb and Kid, I was like, oh my goodness, when I saw their version, I just thought it was so incredibly beautiful. They offered to send me a kit to make it, and I was so excited. These colors are just, they're my colors. So for the main color, I am using Slipover, and it is on the Birdie base, which is a light fingering, light heavy lace weight. It is a 70% Suri alpaca, 26% silk. It's that 328 yards per 50 gram, Suri base. The Lamb and Kids colors are so good. My contrast color, my main contrast color is Conversation Pit. It's stunning. Okay, and then my other contrast color is Vintage. And it has, on Suri, the Vintage has a little bit of a green undertone to it. So it's amazing. So you're knitting this on US 9 needles. It just flies. It really does. So I've been working the, I would say short rows, but you're working it flat. You're not actually doing short rows at this point. But I haven't actually got it in the round yet. This is going to be a raglan pullover, and it has a little bit of a saddle shoulder type situation that then goes into raglan. And I've started the raglan, so it's now full on raglan. It's not the saddle shoulder shaping anymore, and it's so soft. I really, really love it. I've got my second contrast color going now, and it's really fun. And y'all know I love a low contrast moment, so this is going to be really, really cute. I feel like this could knit up so fast, and it's just these big chunks of stripes. It's something that, especially when I'm working in the round, it's just gonna fly. So I'm very much looking forward to doing that. I've got it in the bag that the Lamb and Kids sent me. So sweet. So I cannot wait to get this sweater done, and I'm planning outfits to go with it already. I think what I want to do, I'm making the size 4, which still gives me a few inches of positive ease. And Suri grows so much, especially there's no wool in it to sort of bring it back in, the recovery. So I feel like I could even block this out as big as I want it. And I want this to be a big, oversized, boxy top. And I don't want it to be too long. I want it to hit right below the waistband of my pants. and be big, flowy. I could French tuck it if I want, but I kind of like it just open with more fitted pants underneath. I think that looks really good. So that's my plan. Next project, I have not cast on yet, but Melissa from Sonder is going to, I believe, be casting on with me after Rhinebeck. And it is the Rosie Sweater. Sonder yarn is one of my absolute favorite yarns. I was so disappointed whenever, because of the tariffs and everything, they weren't shipping to the US for a while. But as soon as that got opened back, her site was, opened back up to ship to the US, I quickly ordered the yarn for the Rosie Sweater, which is a pattern by Lynette, and it is this really cool construction of a drop shoulder that shifts into a raglan when you start the color work. I just think it's really cool because you get the look of a drop shoulder, but then you're working in the round for the color work, which makes all the difference. I don't like knitting color work flat. I'll do it, but it's not my favorite. So I was very excited. Now, it is one of those sweaters that calls for a fingering and a lace weight mohair. I'm allergic to mohair, so I'm using Suri. Suri is like 1.5 of one strand of mohair. So one strand of mohair, one strand of Suri, you put them next to each other. They're both considered lace weight, but the Suri is so much thicker and puffier, and the fabric it makes is a lot denser. So it might be classified as a lace weight, but it doesn't knit up as a lace weight to me. And the gauge is not going to be the same as knitting with a strand of mohair. So I subbed in the fingering weight yarn with a strand of the lace weight Haven base. So this is 75% Falkland and Merino, 25.5% BFL, and 25.5% Masham. So it's very much like their Sunday morning DK or their Sunday morning fingering 4-ply, but it is a lighter base. It's more of a lace weight. It's got 650 meters or 711 yards, and it puffs up so beautifully that when you look at it, it almost looks like a very light fingering weight yarn. So you can get anywhere from a lace weight gauge to a light fingering weight. And I am holding that with the Suri instead of the full-on fingering base. These are my two colors. So this is going to be my main color, and this is going to be my roses in the color work. This is grayish and offline, and I'm holding it with Edible and Bear Hug. I think it's going to be really fun. It's beautiful colors. I love it. I love Melissa. I love Sonder. So I'm so pleased that it's not gone forever from me. So happy that I can get access to the yarn again. So I think I'm going to cast that on with her whenever she gets back from Rhinebeck, and that will be fun. Now, I also got some yarn in the mail, and it is new to me yarn. I've never used it before. So I bought some Confluence cotton from the Farmer's Daughter Fibers, and I got it in the color Not Another Mauve. So this base is a fingering weight, but it definitely looks like a heavier fingering weight to me when I'm looking at it. I'm trying to find okay, so they're 250 yards or 2 ounces, and it's 80% Targhee and Rambouillet wool, and it's blended with a 20% cotton. So that's really cool. I've never used this base before. It feels lovely though, and that blend of fibers almost gives it a tweedy look. So it's really cool. I like it. And Not Another Mauve is definitely got that purpley brown with pink undertones in it. And I'm going to hold it with the color Bear Gulch on O'Dang. So, Suri, back in the house. This is that same 328 yards base of Suri, 26% silk, 74% Suri alpaca. And I think that these colors go really beautifully together. So this is for a test knit that I'm going to be working on, but a procrastinator. I'm not quite ready to cast this on yet, but I think this is going to be an absolutely beautiful, beautiful combo. And I am going to wind these balls up or cake them up and swatch, and I cannot wait to see that fabric. I'll show you my swatch. I think it's going to be really lovely. Okay, so that's all my knitting. I need to make decisions. I think what I'm going to do is keep working on my Ingrid Slipover. I feel like I could finish that so quickly. And I need to finish some socks that are due pretty shortly. They won't take me very long because they're almost done. And then I'm going to work on the Cealliagh sweater and the Rosie sweater. I think I'm going to do those for a little bit. But I've also got my Norma. So I might wait on my Rosie sweater to get too far into it. So I need to think through, because these decisions are important. What I knit on will be the sweater I wear this year, because otherwise it's going to be next year before they're done. What do you think? Which are your favorites? What should I prioritize? What should I focus on? Help me. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about sewing. I had a lovely, lovely time test sewing a skirt that was just released, and it is the Margot Skirt or Margot Skirt. I'm not sure which way it's pronounced. I'm not sure if the T is silent or if it's a hard consonant T at the end, but anyway, this is the name. So I test sewed this for Me Kiddo Designs, and it is such a lovely basic skirt pattern that just fits incredibly well. So it's an A-line, and I find that A-line skirts fit me so much better than boxy skirts because it helps define my waist and hips. Whereas if I do a really boxy skirt, then I just look like I'm wearing a circus tent. But instead, this still gives me some shape while having lots of flow at the bottom, because you know your shape is going like this on the skirt. So you still get hips and waist, but then you have lots of flow at the bottom. And I'm really pleased with how this turned out. So I used Merchant & Mills linen. I had some Cider Toddy, I think was the name of this. It's a really fun stripe in a brown and green, I guess. Almost like a camo green type color. So very earthy colors, but the stripe is fun. And I'm so happy with it. I feel like it's not a difficult pattern. So if you haven't sewn a lot of garments, this is going to be one that you can definitely do. I did not put the pockets in because sometimes I really like pockets, but sometimes with skirts, if it's a more fitted skirt, or even if it's not, sometimes it adds a little bit of bulk right at my hips and waist and tummy, and it makes it set kind of funny. So I didn't do the pockets, but I think in the next one I am going to. And it has an elastic waist, and I actually chose to do a faux drawstring. So this does not go all the way around my waist. It's just between these two little buttonholes that I did, and then I made a shorter drawstring that just comes through those two buttonholes like that, and you can tie it for the look. So there's instructions on how to do that in the pattern, and there's also instructions for a full drawstring or no drawstring. And it's got a lot of options, and I really like it. I think this is a lovely pattern, and I would recommend it. I think it's a great fit, and it's very wearable. Okay, I'm currently working on a pair of jeans. I'm sewing these jeans with some friends, and one of those friends is Meredith, who is Meredith Makes... No, she recently changed her Instagram name. Anyway, she is one of the lovely ladies at Sew Liberated. She has a lot of sewing experience. She's really great, and I love her style. I love everything she makes. Meredith and I are making it with some friends, and this is the Helene Selvedge jeans. I really, really think this pattern just looks so well fitting, and it is a pattern by Anna Allen. So you've heard me gush about the Protea pants. They're just such an easy, simple, comfy pair of pants, but they look great. This is the same designer. And I'm using some selvedge denim, which I've never used before, but I got this at Salt Lake Society online. They had a sale not too long ago. What was it? It's like 15 or 20% off. So I was really excited, and I got this denim, and it's got a green undertone. It's definitely, you know, like a sage green color. It was called Ashen, and I like it a lot. It's a very muted color, and I feel like it will go with everything. So I've got my fly done, and you know, the fly looks good and everything, but my goodness, when I was doing this, I don't know, I feel like I've just been so stressed out lately, as we all are. And I even did the top stitching and everything, and I ripped out every stitch of my top stitching and I'm going to redo it all because I was so unhappy with how it looked. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist with my top stitching. I love top stitching. I think it's so much fun, but I want it to look really good. And I also realized, like, I was in La La Land. I picked up the wrong color of my top stitching thread and threaded my needle with it on my sewing machine and sewed all my top stitching. Like, did I not even notice? That's how out of it apparently was. So I went back and ripped all of that out, and I'm going to redo that with the correct color, and hopefully it's going to be very neat and tidy and look fabulous. So I will let you know. I'm very excited. I've never made these jeans before. I think it's so funny that I am making these with Meredith, and Meredith already, she finished 2 of them, and I haven't even finished the first pair. I'm like, girl, what, do you sleep? Okay, let's chat a little bit about what I'm reading, watching, listening to. I'm very excited. If y'all have been here long, you'll know I'm a huge Richard Osman fan. I love the Thursday Murder Club series. It's just one of my favorite series of all time. I get so much joy and happiness from listening to those books. It is a murder mystery, for sure, but it is very much character driven, and it is about this group of 70-something-year-olds that live in this posh, really fancy retirement community, and they're going around solving murders. And the characters themselves are really cool. One of them is a ex-British Secret Service spy. She's Elizabeth. She is the coolest. And one of them is Ibrahim. He is a psychiatrist, I think. He's just really intelligent. And then you just have all over the spectrum. There's these 4 main characters. And then there's some other side characters that become very, very much main character energy, though. And boy, I want to be best friends with this group of mid-70-year-olds. They are so much fun. I just feel like we are vibing on the same wavelength. We absolutely are connecting on the same energy level, and I wish that they were my best friends. They are so cool. So yes, new book is out, number 5, and I just bought that book I used my credit on Audible. I was very excited that it is finally here. So I am starting that. If you're starting it, or if you've already listened to it, then let me know if you're sharing my excitement. As far as what I've been watching, it's been very low key. Whenever I feel a little bit stressed, I can't watch TV. I can't watch YouTube. I can't watch anything. I don't know. I think maybe it's visual overstimulation. Maybe that's not it. Maybe I feel like I can't commit. Like even like starting a movie, it feels like a commitment. Or starting a podcast, it feels like a commitment. For some reason, I don't know. So I haven't even been watching much of anything. I have been watching some Golden Girls and some really, really light-hearted things that involve no commitment to me. They're very short episodes. I'm like, oh, I can do that. It's not a big deal. Keeping up appearances, some things like that. So if you have a recommendation of something that I need to watch, let me know in the comments. I would love that. that's all I have to share today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I was very excited to get to chat with you all again today. And I can't wait to hear what you're working on. Let me know what you're working on. What yarn are you using? What color is it? And tell me what project I should focus on. I love to hear your input. I'm probably going to do whatever I end up wanting to do, but I'm really bad about that. I ask for advice from my husband and from my friends, be like, tell me, what should I do? What color should I wear? And then I go ahead and do whatever it is that I want to do, even though I desperately want them to tell me what to do. Isn't that funny? But it makes me feel good when they tell me their opinion. I'm like, oh, thank you for sharing that with me. It makes me feel closer. It makes me feel closer to them. So please tell me, share your energy with me. Tell me what project I should be working on, and I would love to hear it. All right, I hope y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day and weekend, and I look forward to chatting with you next week. Until then, happy knitting, y'all.